Benefits of the recitation of the chapters of the Holy Quran. The verse Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. If we were to give an exhaustive account of the benefits of the recitation of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, we would need more than a single volume to do justice for it. Apart from being part of every chapter in the Holy Quran, except the chapter of repentance, Surah Al-Tawbah, it is also the most oft-repeated verse in the Holy Quran. It is narrated in Tafsir al-Burhan that the Holy Prophet has said that when a person recites Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, then 5,000 ruby palaces are built for him in Jannah. Each palace has 1,000 chambers made of pearls, and in each chamber has 70,000 thrones of emerald, and each throne has 70,000 carpets made from special fabrics, and upon each carpet is seated a Hur al-Ain. A person asked for the condition necessary to get this great reward, and the Holy Prophet replied that the person should recite the Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim with conviction and understanding. The Holy Prophet has also said that when a believer will have to cross the Pool Sirat on the Day of Judgment, and he will say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, then the flames beneath him will start dying down until Jahannam will cry out, "O believer, pass through quickly, your presence is causing my fire to die out." When a teacher teaches a child to recite Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, the child, his parents, and the teacher are all guaranteed freedom from hellfire. It is narrated that Prophet Isa was once passing by a graveyard, and he saw a grave upon which the wrath and punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was descending, so he quietly walked past. When he passed the same place after some time, he noticed that the mercy and blessings of Allah was being showered on the same grave. He was surprised at this, and asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about what has happened, and it was revealed to him that the man inside the grave was a sinner, and was thus being punished for his sins. When he died, his wife was pregnant, and soon gave birth to a son. When the boy grew older, his mother took him to a teacher who taught him to recite Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and I felt that it would not be justice that this man's son was calling my name, and I was punishing his father in the grave. It was also mentioned that the recitation of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim with a loud voice is from the signs of a true believer. Imam Ali al-Rada alayhi salam said that Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim is very close to the chosen name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ism Azam. Surah Al-Fatiha, the opening. There are 7 verses in this surah, and it is said that this surah is both Makki and Madani, as it was revealed in both Mecca and Medina. In the commentary of Majma'ul Bayan, it is narrated that the Holy Prophet said that whoever recites this surah will get the reward for reciting 2/3 of the whole Quran, and will get the reward equivalent to what would be gained by giving charity to all the believing men and women in the world. One of the companions of the Holy Prophet narrates that he once recited this surah in the presence of the Holy Prophet, and the Prophet said, "By him in whose hand is my soul." A similar revelation to this has not been included in the Torah, Injil, Zabur, or even the Quran itself. The Holy Prophet once asked Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, "Should I teach you a surah that has no other comparison to it in the whole Quran?" Jabir replied, "Yes, and may my parents be ransom upon you, O Prophet of Allah." So the Holy Prophet taught him Surah Al-Fatiha. Then the Holy Prophet asked, "Jabir, should I tell you something about this surah?" Jabir answered, "Yes, and may my parents be ransom upon you, O Prophet of Allah." The Prophet said, "The Surah Al-Fatiha is a cure for every ailment except death." Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that whoever cannot be cured by Surah Al-Fatiha, then there is no cure for that person. In the same narration, it is written that if this surah is recited 70 times on any part of the body that is paining, the pain will surely go away. In fact, the power of this surah is so great that it is said that if one were to recite it 70 times over a dead body, you should not become surprised if that body starts moving. Surah Al-Fatiha is a cure for physical and also spiritual ailments. Without this surah, even the daily prayers are incomplete. It is indeed a great treasure that has been given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the Holy Prophet, and no previous Prophet has been given anything like it. This surah is also known as Kitab and Sab'a Mathani. Surah Al-Baqarah, the cow. This surah has 286 verses and is a Madani surah, as it was revealed in Medina. It is also the longest surah in the Holy Quran. The Holy Prophet has said that whoever recites the first 4 verses of Surah Al-Baqarah, accompanied by the Ayat al-Kursi, together with the last 3 verses of this surah, and makes a habit of reciting these verses daily, his life, property, and family will be protected, and no evil shall come upon them. Shaitan will not come close to him, and he will not be from those who forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Surah Ali Imran, the family of Imran. In this surah, there are a total of 200 verses, and it was revealed in Medina. The Holy Prophet has said that whoever recites Surah Ali Imran on Friday, then until the setting of the sun, he will be showered by the mercy of Allah, and the angels will beg for his forgiveness. The Prophet has also recommended this surah for those women who are not able to conceive. The surah should be written using saffron and then given to her to wear as a talisman, and by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala she will conceive. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that if a person faces hardship in earning his livelihood, he should write this surah and wear it as a talisman, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will increase his sustenance greatly. The Imam alayhi salam has also said that if anyone recites both Surah Al-Baqarah and Ali Imran, then these surahs will come in the shape of clouds on the Day of Judgment to protect him from the scorching heat. Surah An-Nisa, the woman. This surah was revealed in Medina and has a total of 177 verses. In Tafsir al-Burhan, it is written that Imam Ali has said that whoever recites this surah on every Friday, he will remain safe from the squeezing in the grave. Fishar al-Qabr. Surah Al-Ma'idah, the table spread. There are 120 verses in this surah, and it is a Makki surah, as it was revealed in Makkah. It was narrated from the Prophet ﷺ that whoever recites this surah will get a reward equivalent to 10 times the number of Jews and Christians alive in the world, and will be forgiven the same amount of sins and will be raised in the status by the same amount. Surah Al-An'am, the cattle. This surah was revealed in Mecca and contains a total of 165 verses. Imam al-Rida alayhi salam has said that this surah was revealed accompanied by the descending of 70,000 angels. These angels will ask forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for any person who recites this surah, and they will continue to do so until the Day of Judgment. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that if a person recites this surah using musk or saffron and then drinks it, as in he puts the written surah in water for its writing to dissolve, and for 6 consecutive days, that person will be blessed abundantly and will be free from all problems and ailments. He will not lose his health or fall sick. The 6th Holy Imam alayhi salam has also said that this surah must be accorded due respect, as the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala appears 70 times in it. If people knew the benefits of reciting this surah, they would never leave it. Surah Al-A'raf, the elevated places. There are 206 verses in this Makki surah. It is reported from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam that whoever recites this surah once a month, he will have no worry or fear on the day of resurrection. And if it is recited on a Friday, then the reciter will be from among those who will be exempted from the taking of accounts on the Day of Judgment. Surah Al-A'raf has the Ayat al-Muhammat that will give witness on behalf of its reciter on the Day of Reckoning. The Holy Prophet has said that there will be a veil between the reciter of this surah and Iblis on the Day of Judgment, and the reciter will be in the company of Prophet Adam. Writing this surah with rose water and saffron, and keeping the writing at all times ensures safety from enemies and wild animals. Surah Al-Anfal, the spoils of war. This surah was revealed in Medina, and it has 75 verses. In the commentary of Majma'ul Bayan, it is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq that whoever recites Surah Al-Anfal and Surah At-Tawbah every month, he will be protected from being a hypocrite and will be counted among the followers of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And on the day of Qiyamah, he will eat from the tablespread of Jannah together with all the followers of Ahlul Bayt. This surah contains the verse about Khums, which is the right of the Ahlul Bayt. The Holy Prophet said that he will, on the Day of Judgment, intercede for every person who recites this surah and will bear witness that the reciter of this surah was free from hypocrisy. Keeping Surah Al-Anfal in your possession at all times ensures that you get your rights that have been taken away from you and your legitimate desires are fulfilled. Surah Al-Bara'at or Surah At-Tawbah, the Repentance. This surah has 129 verses and was revealed in Medina. This surah was revealed all at once and its revelation was accompanied by 70,000 angels. It is narrated that keeping the surah over one's head, like in a cap or amama, is safety from thieves and destruction of property by fire. Also, keeping the surah in one's possession ensures safety from the evil designs of enemies. Surah to Yunus. This surah is a Makki surah and it has 109 verses. It is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam that if a person recites this surah once in 2 or 3 months, he will not be placed alongside the ignorant ones and will be from among the muqarrabeen, the close ones, on the day of reckoning. It is also narrated that if a person recites Surah to Yunus, he will get the reward equal to the number of people who are present in the community of Prophet Yunus. This surah can be used as a means of identifying thieves from among your workers. This is done by either writing the surah and under it writing the names of all the people in the house or workplace who could be suspected of stealing, and then keeping this writing in the house. It will after some time become manifest who the thief is. Surah Al-Hud. This surah was revealed in Makkah and has a total of 123 ayat. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam has said that whoever recites this surah every Friday, his accounts will be on the Day of Judgment, taken together with that of the Prophets, and all of his sins will be forgiven. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that the person who recites Surah Al-Hud will get a reward equal to the number of people who were there at the time of the Holy Prophet, and his rank will be like of the martyrs. The accounting for his deeds will also be made easy for him. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that writing this surah on a sheepskin and keeping it in one's possessions at all time makes one so courageous and bold that nobody can defeat him in combat. Whoever sees him will be filled with fear. Surah to Yusuf. Surah Yusuf has 111 ayat and was revealed in Mecca. It is narrated that the Holy Prophet said that whoever recites this surah and teaches his family members how to recite it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make the final moments before his death, also known as Sakaratul Maut, easy for him to bear and will remove jealousy from his heart. It has been narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq that whoever recites this surah daily, he will be raised on the day of Qiyamah with the handsomeness of Prophet Yusuf, and he will be protected from the fear and discomfort of this day. He will be raised among the pious servants of Allah. This surah also keeps one's heart safe from illegitimate lustful desires. The sixth Imam alayhi salam has also said that if a person drinks the water in which this surah has been dissolved, then his sustenance will be easier to reach and he will be made from the people of Jannah. Surah Ar-Ra'd, the thunder. There are 43 ayat in this surah and it is Makki, though some Mufassirin say that the last verse of this surah was revealed in Medina. In fact, some even go as far as saying that the whole of this surah is Madani, except for 2 verses. The Holy Prophet has been quoted as saying that whoever recites this surah will be made from among those who fulfill their promise to Allah, and they will be given reward which is 10 times the number of sins they have committed. It is narrated that Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq has said that if a mu'min recites this surah often, he will be taken to Jannah without having to give the long and detailed account for his deeds on earth. He will also be allowed to intercede on behalf of his relatives and friends. If this surah is written at night after the time for Isha prayers, under a candle's light, and then hung outside the door of a tyrant ruler's palace, then the ruler will perish and so will his control over the people. His army and his supporters will betray him and nobody will listen to him. Surah Al-Ibrahim. This is a Makki surah that has 52 ayat. It is narrated by Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq that whoever recites Surah Ibrahim and Surah Al-Hijr in a 2 rakat prayer on every Friday, he will remain safe from poverty, insanity, and sudden calamity. In the commentary of Burhan, it is mentioned that writing the surah on a white parchment and then making a child wear it as a talisman keeps the child safe from ailments and makes it easy for him to drink and digest milk. Surah Al-Hijr, the Rocky Tract. There are 99 verses in this Makki surah. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that whoever recites Surah Al-Hijr will get the reward equal to the number of Muhajirin and Ansar, who are the companions of the Holy Prophet. And this surah should be written with saffron and then worn as a talisman by a new mother who cannot produce enough milk for her child. If written and tied on one's arm, it makes any business conducted by the wearer to be profitable and makes people like doing business with him. His sustenance thus increases. In a narration by Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam, one can also put this surah inside a pocket or a safe for storing valuables. Surah An-Nahl, the Bee. This surah was revealed in Mecca and has 128 ayat. In the commentary of Majma'ul Bayan, it is recorded from the Holy Prophet that whoever recites this surah will not be questioned on the Day of Judgment about the blessings he received on the earth, and will get the reward equal to the amount of people who left a good will when they died. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that whoever recites Surah An-Nahl once every month, he will be safe from 70 types of diseases and will be from among the people of Jannah. This surah should, however, under no circumstance be written and kept in the house or garden, as it may have harmful effects. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam has said that if kept in a house or garden, it will soon be destroyed. Indeed, this is a weapon that one is only allowed to use against an evil person who is the enemy of Islam. Surah Bani Israel, the children of Israel. There are 111 verses in this Makki surah. The Holy Prophet has said that a great reward will be accorded to those who recite this surah, and when they reach the verse about parents, they feel a sense of love and gentleness towards their parents. It is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam that whoever recites Surah Bani Israel every Thursday night will not die before meeting the 12th Imam, and will be counted among his companions. Also, if a child is not able to speak or is delaying in his learning how to speak, he should be given the water of this surah that has been written with saffron. In the commentary of Safi, it is written that the Holy Prophet told Imam Ali alayhi salam that the last two verses of this surah are a protection and safety from theft. This surah is also called Surah Al-Isra. Surah Al-Kahf, the Cave. This surah has 110 ayats and it was revealed in Mecca. The Holy Prophet has said that whoever recites this surah will be protected from fitna for 8 days. If a person recites the last verse of Surah Al-Kahf before sleeping at night, Allah creates a nur from his sleeping place up to the Holy Kaaba, and in this light are angels who continually pray for the reciter until he wakes up. It is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam that if a person wishes to wake up at a particular time, he should recite the last ayah of this surah and then make the intention that he will wake up at a certain time, and he will wake up at that time. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq has also said that if a person recites this surah every Thursday night, he will die the death of a martyr. Keeping this surah written in the house becomes a means of protection from poverty and debts. Surah Al-Maryam. There are 99 ayat in this Makki surah. It is written in the commentary of Majma'ul Bayan that the reward for reciting this surah is equal to 10 times the number of people present at the time of Prophet Zakaria, Prophet Yahya, Prophet Isa, Prophet Musa, Prophet Ishaq, Prophet Harun, Prophet Ibrahim, Prophet Yaqub, and Prophet Ismail combined. Keeping this surah written in the house ensures protection from thieves, and Allah blesses the occupants of the house. It is also narrated that before going in the presence of a tyrant ruler, if a person recites Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sad, and closes with each letter one finger of his right hand, and then recites Ha, Mim, Ain, Sin, Qaf, and with each letter closes one finger of his left hand, and then he comes in the presence of the tyrant and recites وَعَنَتِ الْوُجُوهُ لِلْحَيِّ الْقَيُّومِ وَخَابَ مَنْ حَمَلَ ظُلْمًا, and then he opens his fingers, he will be protected from the evil of the tyrant. Surah Taha. This surah was revealed in Mecca and has 135 verses. It is mentioned in a narration from the Holy Prophet that whoever recites this surah will get the reward equivalent to the number of companions of the Holy Prophet from the Muhajirin and Ansar. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq has said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala befriends the ones who recite this surah, and this person will receive his book of deeds on his right hand. His sins will be forgiven and he will get so much reward that he will be pleased on the Day of Judgment. This surah should be recited before war, going before a tyrant ruler and trying to guide a community towards the path of Allah. If a girl is not getting married and she wishes to get married, she should take ghusl with water in which this surah has been dissolved, and by the will of Allah she will get married. If a man wishes to get married, he should write verses 131 and 132 of this surah with saffron, and then wear it as a talisman, and insha'Allah his proposal will be accepted. Surah Al-Anbiya, the Prophets. This Makki surah has 112 ayat. It is narrated that the reward for reciting this surah is that the accounting on the day of reckoning becomes easy for the reciter, and all the prophets whose names appear in the Holy Quran will come to meet him on this day. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq has said that whoever recites Surah Al-Anbiya frequently, his status in Jannah will be close to the prophets. Writing this surah and keeping it with one removes all stress and worry. Surah Al-Hajj, the Pilgrimage. There are 78 ayat in this surah and it was revealed in Mecca. The Holy Prophet has said that reciting this surah carries a reward equal to the number of pilgrims who have been for Hajj and those who will go for Hajj in the future. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq has said that whoever recites this surah once in every 3 days will get the opportunity of going for Hajj in the same year, and if he dies on the way, he will be granted Jannah. Someone asked what would happen if the person performing Hajj was a sinner, so the Imam replied that his punishment would be reduced. Surah Al-Mu'minun, the Believers. This surah was revealed in Mecca and it has 118 verses. The Holy Prophet has said that the reciter of this surah will feel great comfort when the angel of death comes to take his soul, and he will be given the good news of his position by angels. It is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq that whoever recites this surah on every Friday, he will have great status in the hereafter and will be in the company of prophets. If this surah is written at night and put on the neck of a drunkard, he will start hating intoxicating drinks and will stop this bad habit. Surah An-Nur, the Light. There are 64 ayat in this surah and it was revealed in Medina. In the commentary of Burhan, it is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq that whoever constantly recites Surah An-Nur will never in his lifetime see any evil from his near ones, and when he dies, 70,000 angels will accompany his body up to the grave and will pray for his forgiveness. The Holy Prophet has said that it is especially good for women to recite this surah. He also said that the reward for reciting this surah is equal to 10 times the number of mu'mineen and mu'minat on the earth. The sixth Imam has said that keeping this surah in one's bed prevents wet dreams. Surah Al-Furqan, the Criterion. This surah has 77 ayat and it is Makki. The Holy Prophet has said that a person who recites this surah will be taken to Jannah without questioning, provided he believes in the Day of Judgment and the raising of the dead from the graves. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq has said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never send his punishment upon any person who recites this surah every night. The reciter of this surah will also gain a highly status in the hereafter. The person who recites this surah and keeps it in his possession will never be harmed by the vermin of this earth. Surah Ash-Shu'ara, the Poets. This surah was revealed in Mecca and has a total of 227 ayat. In the commentary of Burhan, it is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq that whoever recites the 3 Tawasin, which is the 3 surahs beginning with Tasin, on every Thursday night, will be counted from the awliyaullah, who are the friends of Allah, and will be under the protection of Allah. The reward for reciting this surah is so great that when the person sees the reward he has gotten from it on the Day of Judgment, he will be pleased. The Holy Prophet said that the one who recites this surah will come out of his grave reciting the Shahada or the Kalima, bearing witness in the oneness of Allah. Reciting Surah Ash-Shu'ara at dawn is compared to the recitation of all the heavenly books that have been revealed. Frequent recitation of this surah ensures protection from thieves and from death by drowning or being burnt. Drinking water in which this surah was dissolved protects one from all types of ailments. Surah An-Naml, the Ant. This Mecca surah has 93 verses. In the commentary of Majma'ul Bayan, it is narrated that the reward for reciting this surah is compared to 10 times the number of people alive during the time of Prophet Sulaiman, Prophet Hud, Prophet Shu'aib, Prophet Saleh, and Prophet Ibrahim. In the commentary of Burhan, it is written that if this surah is written on deerskin and kept in the house, then no dangerous creature, example a snake, will come near the house. This has been narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq. Surah Al-Qasas, the narrative. There are 88 ayat in this surah and it was revealed in Mecca, though some scholars say that it was revealed in Medina. The 58th verse of this surah was revealed at the time of the Holy Prophet's migration from Mecca to Medina. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that whoever recites this surah will get the reward equivalent to the number of people present at the time of Prophet Musa, and all the angels will bear witness on his behalf. If one drinks water in which this surah has been dissolved, all his problems and worries will be solved. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq has said that drinking water in which this surah has been dissolved is a remedy for illness and worries. This can also be done by writing the surah inside a container and then gathering rainwater in the same container. Surah Al-Ankabut, the Spider. The first 11 ayat of this surah are Madani and the rest were revealed in Mecca. The surah has a total of 69 verses. In the commentary of Burhan, it is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq that whoever recites Surah Al-Kabut on the 23rd night of the month of Ramadan will enter Jannah without any questioning. The Holy Prophet has said that the reward for reciting this surah can be compared to 10 times the number of believing men and women, plus 10 times the number of hypocrites on the earth. Drinking water in which the surah has been dissolved brings one great joy and happiness in his life. Surah Ar-Rum, the Romans. This surah was revealed in Mecca and it has 60 ayat. The Holy Prophet said that the reward for reciting this surah is equal to 10 times the number of angels between the heavens and the earth who praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala constantly. It is not advisable to keep this surah as a talisman written in the house. Surah Luqman. This surah is Makki and it has 34 ayat. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq has said that if Surah Luqman is recited at night, then angels protect the reciter from Iblis and his army until the next morning. And if recited in the daytime, then the angels protect him from them until nighttime. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that whoever recites this surah will be raised on the Day of Judgment with Hadrat Luqman, and will get the reward which is 10 times the amount of people who have advised others to do good, Amar bil Ma'ruf, and prevented them from doing bad, Nahyan al-Munkar. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq has also said that writing this surah and then putting it in water to dissolve and then drinking the water provides for a cure from all types of illnesses and pains. Surah Sajda, the Adoration. There are 30 verses in this surah and it was revealed in Mecca. Some scholars say that the 19th, 20th, and 21st ayahs of this surah are Madani. In the commentary of Burhan, it is narrated from the Holy Prophet that the reward for reciting Surah As-Sajda and Surah Al-Mulk is the same as what reward is gained if one spends the entire night of Qadr in worship. It is said that the Holy Prophet ﷺ used to recite these surahs before sleeping. The person who recites this surah will be given 60 rewards, forgiven 60 sins, and raised 60 levels near Allah. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq has said that one recites this surah will be given his book of deeds in his right hand and on the Day of Judgment and will be counted from among the friends of the Holy Prophet and his family. Keeping this surah in writing works as a cure from aches and pains. Surah Al-Ahzab, the Allies. This surah was revealed in Medina and it has 73 ayat. In the commentary of Majma'ul Bayan, it is narrated from the Holy Prophet that whoever recites Surah Al-Ahzab and also teaches it to his family members, he will be saved from the torment of the grave. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq has said that the reward for reciting this surah often is countless, and the one who does so will be under the protection of the Holy Prophet and his progeny on the Day of Reckoning. Keeping this surah written on deerskin makes a person honorable in the eyes of people, and everybody craves for his company. Surah Saba. This is a Mecca surah and it has 54 verses. It is narrated that the Holy Prophet said that whoever recites this surah on the Day of Judgment, all the prophets and messengers will come to meet him. In a saying from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq, it is mentioned that whoever recites Surah Saba and Surah Fatir at night, he will remain under the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the whole night. The reward for reciting this surah is so great that when it is seen in the book of deeds, the reciter's heart will be filled with joy. Wearing this surah as a talisman or drinking its water removes fear from one's heart and keeps one safe from enemies and wild animals. Surah Fatir, the originator. There are 45 ayat in this surah and it was revealed in Mecca. In a narration from the Holy Prophet, it is said that the 3 doors of Jannah will be opened for the person who recites this surah. He will be able to enter it through whichever door he pleases. In another narration, it is said that the 8 doors of Jannah will be opened to him, and he will be permitted to enter it through whichever door he likes. It is narrated that a person once came to Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq and complained that his daughter had a problem of getting severe migraine headaches all the time. The Imam placed his hand on her head and recited verse 42 of this surah and she was cured. Surah Yasin. This surah is Makki and it has 83 verses. It is written in the commentary of Majma'ul Bayan that whoever recites Surah Yasin solely for seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all his sins will be forgiven and he will be given the reward equal to the reward of reciting the whole Quran 12 times. If the surah is recited near a person on his deathbed, then for each letter recited, 12 angels are sent to pray for his forgiveness, and they remain even when the soul is being taken by the angel of death. The angels also take part in his funeral rites. If recited near a person who is in Sakaratul Maut or on the verge of passing away, then an angel brings a drink for the dying person from Jannah, and as he drinks of it, he feels greatly ease. In another narration, this surah has been described as the key to all good in this life and in the hereafter, and a safety from all evil in this life and in the hereafter. Needs are fulfilled if asked after the recitation of this surah, and the reward for its recitation is also compared to performing 20 Hajj pilgrimages. Drinking the water in which this surah has been dissolved cures one of 1,000 types of illnesses. The Holy Prophet said that everything has its heart, and the heart of the Holy Quran is Surah Yasin. He also said that if this surah is recited in a graveyard, then all punishment is lifted for that day from all the graves, and the reciter gets the reward equal to the sum of all the good actions performed by all those who are buried in this graveyard. It is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq that whoever recites this surah in the morning will be protected from all calamities and problems during the day, and whoever recites it at night will be protected from shaitan by 70,000 angels. Recitation of this surah saves one from the squeezing of the grave and its other torments. Passing difficult stages in the hereafter will also be made easy for him. The sixth Imam has also said that drinking this water after writing it in a mixture of rose water and saffron for 7 days, it has to be written once for each day, makes a person have such a good memory that he will never forget what he hears. He will win the base and will gain great respect and status. If given to a woman, her breast milk will increase. Keeping the surah in one's possession as a talisman acts as a protection from the jealousy of people. The wearer remains safe from the evil designs of men and jinn. It also acts as a cure from disease. Surah As-Safat, the Rangers. There are 182 ayat in this surah and it was revealed in Mecca. The reward for reciting this surah is 10 times the total number of jinn and shayateen that exist. The reciter of this surah is protected from shaitan and is safe from falling into disbelief and shirk. His angels who record his deeds will testify for him on the day of judgment that he was from among those who believed in the prophets of Allah. It is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq that reciting the Surah As-Safat on every Friday keeps one safe from all types of calamities. His sustenance will increase and his life, wealth, and children will be protected from the evil designs of shaitan and the tyrant rulers of the time. If one dies after reciting the surah, he will die the death of a martyr. He will be raised on the day of judgment together with the martyrs and will enter Jannah with them. Surah Sad. This surah was revealed in Mecca and has 88 verses. In the commentary of Majma'ul Bayan, it is written that the reward for reciting this surah is equal to the weight of the mountain of Prophet Dawood. Allah inspires the reciter of this surah to avoid every type of sin, big or small. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir has said that the reward for reciting Surah Sad is compared to the reward given to the holy prophets, and the one who often recites this surah will be taken to Jannah along with his family and loved ones, to such an extent that even those servants of his whom he loves will be with him in Jannah. If this surah is placed under the tyrant ruler, his reign will not last for more than 3 days before people will see his true nature and will start hating him. This will eventually lead to his downfall. Surah Zumar, the Companies. This surah has 75 ayats and it was revealed in Mecca. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq said that whoever recites this surah will be given an honorable and respectable status in this life and in the hereafter. Allah will give him so much respect in the eyes of the people that they will be in awe. The fire of Jahannam will be made haram on his body, as in he will never enter hellfire, and the gifts he will get in Jannah will be countless. The Holy Prophet has said that if a person keeps this surah written in his possession, then whoever meets him will praise him. If this surah is tied to one's arm, then whoever sees him will praise him. Surah Al-Mu'min, the Believer. This is a Makki surah and has 85 ayat. When a person recites this surah, then the souls of all the Prophet ﷺ, the truthful people, and the believers send salutations to him and pray for his forgiveness. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq has said that whoever recites this surah once in every 3 days, his sins will be forgiven and he will become a God-fearing person. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that if this surah is written and kept in a garden or farm, then the plants or crops will become more fruit-bearing and green. If kept in a business premises, then business will prosper and more profit will be gained. Keeping this surah as a talisman works as a cure for wounds and scars. This surah is also a remedy for heart problems, dizziness, and nausea. Surah Fussilat, explained in detail. Another name for this surah is Hamim Sajda. This is a Makki surah that has 54 verses. The Holy Prophet has said that for each letter of this surah that is recited, 10 rewards are given. It is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq that the one who recites Surah Fussilat will have light shining in front of him on the Day of Judgment, and his life in this world will be praiseworthy. If this surah is written in a container and rainwater is then collected in it and put on one's eyes, then it alleviates all eye problems. Surah Ash-Shura, the Council. The surah has 53 ayat and it was revealed in Mecca. The Holy Prophet has said that the one who recites this surah will be from among those people on whom the angels send their salutations and pray for their forgiveness. It is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq that whoever recites this surah will be raised on the Day of Judgment with the face as bright as the full moon, and he will be told, "You are from those who used to recite Ash-Shura. If you knew the reward for this, you would never have felt tired of reciting it." The angels will then be ordered to take him to Jannah, where he will find a palace made of red rubies. There will be 2 huris and 1,000 slaves in that palace. If this surah is written and kept as a talisman, it becomes a means of protection, and drinking water in which this surah has been dissolved in is especially good for those intending to travel, as it provides a journey without unforeseen problems. Surah Az-Zukhruf, the Embellishment. The surah was revealed in Mecca and it has 89 ayat. It is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq that whoever recites this surah will be saved from the vermin in the grave and will not undergo the squeezing in the grave. The Holy Prophet said that drinking water in which this surah was dissolved acts as a cure and a relief from pain. Surah Dukhan, the Smoke. This is a Makki surah and it has 59 ayat. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that if this surah is recited at night, then 70,000 angels pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive the sins of the reciter. If recited on Thursday nights, all sins are forgiven and houses are built for the reciter in Jannah. The reward for reciting each letter of this surah is equal to that of freeing 1,000 slaves for seeking the pleasure of Allah. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir said that whoever recites Surah Dukhan in his fara'id, or his compulsory prayers, will be protected from the torments of the Day of Judgment, and will easily be able to give his accounts. His book of deeds will also be given to him in his right hand. If kept in one's possession, this surah acts as a protection from the plots of shaitan. If kept under one's pillow before sleeping at night, there will be no suffering from nightmares and one will always get good dreams. Keeping this surah in a place of business makes the trade prosper. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq has said that keeping this surah as a talisman ensures protection from the authorities and makes people fond of the wearer. Drinking water in which this surah has been dissolved is a cure for all ailments related to the stomach. Surah Al-Jathiyah, the Kneeling. There are 37 verses in this surah and it was revealed in Mecca. This surah is also called Surah Al-Shari'ah. It is narrated that whoever recites this surah will not be frightened on the Day of Judgment, and his private parts will remain covered. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq has said that whoever recites this surah will not see Jahannam, and neither will he hear the voice of its flames. Keeping this surah in one's possession makes him a beloved of the people and protects him from tyrant rulers. It also keeps one safe from those who love to slander and backbite. If it is placed on the neck of a newborn child, it ensures safety and protection from all calamities. Surah Al-Ahqaf, the Sandhills. This is a Makki surah and it has 35 verses. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq said that a person who recites this surah daily, or at least every Friday, will remain safe from all the dangers of this world and the hereafter. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that the reward for reciting this surah is 10 times the number of creatures that walk on this earth, and an equal number of sins will be forgiven. Keeping the surah as a talisman acts as a protection and means of averting all kinds of difficulties. If a person dissolves this surah in Zamzam water and then drinks it, he will be greatly honored by the people, and what he says will never be rejected. He will also remember everything he hears. It acts as a cure for disease and a protection from the jinn.
Surah Muhammad. This is a Madani surah and it has 37 ayat. In the commentary of Majma' al-Bayan, it is narrated that the Holy Prophet said that whoever recites this surah will have his thirst quenched by the drink from the rivers of Jannah. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam said that the person who recites this surah will never have doubts about his religion and will not fall into disbelief and shirk. 1,000 angels will send salutations to his grave after his death. He will be placed under the protection of Allah and His Prophet. When the reciter of this surah will arise from his grave, whichever way he turns, he will see the blessed face of the Holy Prophet. If this surah is written and kept as a talisman, it protects a person, whether he is asleep or awake, from all evils and problems. It is also a safety from insanity. Surah Al-Fath, the Victory. There are 29 verses in this surah, and it was revealed in Medina. It is narrated that the Holy Prophet said, "Whoever recites this surah, it will be as if he was with me when Mecca was conquered, and he has pledged allegiance to me." When this surah was revealed to the Holy Prophet, he said, "Such verses have been revealed to me that are dearer to me than this entire world." Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam said that those who recite this surah will be counted from among the sincere and true servants of Allah, and will gain an honorable status in Jannah. In times of war or unrest, keeping the surah in one's possession is a means of protection and safety. Drinking water in which this surah has been dissolved cures any heart problems and protects those who are traveling. Surah Al-Hujurat, the Chambers. This surah was revealed in Medina and it has 18 ayat. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that the reward for reciting this surah can be compared to 10 times the number of believers and disbelievers on earth. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq has narrated that those who recite this surah will be counted from among those who visited the Holy Prophet. Writing this surah and keeping it in one's possession makes the shaitan run away and acts as a protection in times of war and unrest. If a pregnant woman drinks water in which this surah has been dissolved, then both herself and her child will remain safe from danger, and drinking this water also increases breast milk in a breastfeeding mother. Surah Qaf. This surah is Makki and it has 45 ayat. The Holy Prophet has said that whoever recites this surah frequently will not suffer at the time of death. Reciting Surah Qaf in Salat increases one's sustenance and makes the accounting of the Day of Judgment easy. Writing and drinking water in which this surah has been dissolved cures one of many acute diseases. Verse 23 of this surah is especially good for the cure of eye ailments. One can recite this verse and blow into some water and then drink it, and by the will of Allah any problem with eyes will be cured. Surah Al-Dhariyat, the Scatterers. There are 60 ayat in this surah, and it was revealed in Mecca. In the commentary of Majma' al-Bayan, it is narrated from the Holy Prophet that the reward for reciting this surah is 10 times the number of moving winds or breezes. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that recitation of this surah increases one's sustenance and makes it easy to earn. Drinking water in which this surah was dissolved after being written acts as a remedy for back problems. If a pregnant woman wears a talisman of Surah Al-Dhariyat, her pregnancy and delivery will be easy. Keeping this surah close to a dying person makes his death easy. Surah At-Tur, the Mountain. This surah has 49 verses and it was revealed in Mecca. The Holy Prophet said that the one who recites this surah will be kept safe from the wrath and punishment of Allah. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that the recitation of this surah brings good fortune to the reciter, and constant recitation by those who have been imprisoned secures an early release from bondage. Surah At-Tur, if recited or kept as a talisman, keeps children in good health. Surah An-Najm, the Star. This surah was revealed in Makkah and it has 26 ayat. The reward for reciting this surah is 10 times the number of believers and sinners combined. The reciter will lead a respectable and honorable life, and people will love and respect him. Writing this surah and keeping it as a talisman makes one courageous in front of the ruler and makes the ruler respect him. He also comes out victorious in debates and discussions. Surah Al-Qamar, the Moon. This Makki surah has 55 ayat. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that the fact of the person who recites this surah will shine like the full moon on the day of reckoning. The best time to recite this surah is at night, and this carries the highest reward. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam said that the one who recites this surah will have a mount from Jannah, on which he will sit when he wakes from his grave. Whoever keeps this surah under his cap or turban at the time of Jummah prayers will be highly respected by the people, and his difficulties will be eased. Surah Ar-Rahman, the Beneficent. This surah has 78 verses, and it is Makki. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that reciting this surah on Friday after the dawn prayers carries great reward. Surah Ar-Rahman removes hypocrisy from one's heart. On the Day of Judgment, this surah will come in the shape of a human being who will be handsome and will have a very nice scent. Allah will then tell him to point out those people who used to recite this surah, and He will name them. Then he will be allowed to beg pardon for those whom he names, and Allah will pardon them. The Imam also said that if a person dies after reciting this surah, then he is considered a martyr. Writing this surah and keeping it makes all difficulties and problems vanish, and also cures eye ailments. Writing it on the walls of a house keeps away all types of household pests. If recited at night, then Allah sends an angel to guard the reciter until he wakes up, and if recited in the daytime, then an angel guards him until sunset. Surah Al-Waqiyah, the Event. This surah was revealed in Makkah, and it has 96 ayat. The Holy Prophet has said that a person who recites this surah will not be from among the absent-minded ones. Poverty does not come near this person. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam has said that the one who recites Surah Al-Waqiyah will have a shining face on the day of reckoning. It is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam that whoever recites this surah on every Friday will be from among those who Allah loves, and he will be loved by people also. He will be free from troubles and poverty, and will be counted from the loyal companions of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Reciting this surah on a dead person leads to all his sins being forgiven, and if the person is on his deathbed, then he will die with ease. Keeping this surah in one's possession is a means of increase in sustenance. Imam Ali Zainul Abidin alayhi salam has narrated that if a person recites this surah at night on the first night of the lunar month, and then continues to recite the same surah, increasing the number of times to coincide with the date, such that on the 10th night he recites it 10 times, until the 14th night, then his sustenance will increase greatly. Surah Al-Hadid, the Iron. This is a Madani surah, and it has 29 ayat. The Holy Prophet said that the reciter of this surah will be counted from among the staunch believers. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam has said that whoever recites all the surahs that start with tasbih of Allah before going to sleep will not die before meeting the 12th Holy Imam, and after his death he will have the honor of being a neighbor of the Holy Prophet. It is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq that if Surah Al-Hadid and Al-Mujadila are recited in the compulsory prayers frequently, then the reciter will never face any punishment of Allah in this world and will not see any evil from his family. If recited by a prisoner, he will be released soon. If worn on the neck as a talisman, the wearer will not be killed in war. This surah also makes one courageous. Surah Al-Mujadila, the pleading one. There are 22 ayat in this surah, and it was revealed in Medina. The Holy Prophet said that the one who recites this surah will be from among the thankful servants of Allah on the Day of Judgment. If Surah Al-Mujadila is recited near a sick person, or worn by the sick person as a talisman, he will be cured of his illness. If recited on anything that has been buried in the ground, it will remain protected until the person himself removes it. Reciting this surah brings a feeling of ease to a restless person. Constant recitation also protects one from thieves. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that recitation of this surah keeps one safe from the evil designs of jinn and men. If recited on dust or sand and then thrown towards the enemy, he is easily overcome. Surah Al-Hashr, the Banishment. This surah is Madani and it has 24 ayat. It is narrated that whoever recites this surah will be sent salutations from Jannah. The angels, the heavens, the earth, the trees, the birds, the sun, and the moon, and these will pray for the forgiveness of his sins. When he dies, he will die a martyr. If a person recites both Surah Al-Rahman and Surah Al-Hashr, then one angel will be assigned to protect him at all times. If a 4 rak'ah prayer is recited, or after Surah Al-Hamd, Surah Al-Hashr is recited, then whatever important work one goes to do will be successful, with the condition that it is not a sin. Drinking water in which this surah has been dissolved is good for memory and concentration. If this surah is recited for 40 consecutive days without missing a day, it will make even the hardest task become an easy one. Surah Al-Mumtahana, the Examined One. This surah was revealed in Makkah and it has 13 verses. It is narrated from Imam Ali Zainul Abidin alayhi salam that if a person recites this surah in any of his prayers, his heart will become filled with faith and belief. On the Day of Judgment, all the believing men and women will pray for him to be forgiven by Allah. Recitation of this surah increases the acuity of vision and protects the reciter and his children from insanity. The Holy Prophet has said that angels send salutations and pray for the forgiveness of the one who recites this surah. If he dies on that day, then he will have died as a martyr. Drinking water in which this surah has been dissolved also acts as a cure for some ailments. Surah As-Saf, the Ranks. This surah has 14 ayat and it was revealed in Medina. It is narrated that if a person recites this surah, as long as he remains alive, Prophet Isa seeks forgiveness from Allah for him, and he will be from among the friends of Prophet Isa on the day of reckoning. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam has said that the person who recites this surah will be placed in a group of angels and prophets on the Day of Judgment. If this surah is continuously recited during a dangerous journey, the reciter is protected until he reaches his destination. Surah Al-Jumu'ah, the Friday. This is a Madani surah and it has 11 ayat. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that if this surah is recited frequently in the mornings and evenings, the reciter is protected from the influence of shaitan and his temptations. His sins are also forgiven. In another narration, it is said that if a person recites this surah daily, he will be safe from every dangerous and frightening thing. Surah Al-Munafiqun, the Hypocrites. There are 11 verses in this Madani surah. It is narrated that Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that it is required of our followers that they recite in their prayers on Thursday nights Surah Al-Jumu'ah and Surah Al-A'la, and on Fridays at the time of noon prayers Surah Al-Jumu'ah and Surah Al-Munafiqun. Whoever does this, it will be like he has obeyed the command of the Holy Prophet, and his reward will be Jannah. The Holy Prophet has said that by the recitation of this surah, a person stays free from shirk and hypocrisy. Recitation of this surah over a wound will heal it, and over any ache will cure that ache. In fact, it is a cure for all diseases and ailments. Surah At-Taghabun, the Loss and Gain. This surah has 18 ayat and it was revealed in Medina. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that the person who recites this surah will be safe at the time of his death. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that if a person recites this surah in the compulsory prayers, then on the Day of Judgment, this surah itself will intercede on his behalf until he is allowed to enter Jannah. It is also narrated that one who recites this surah will be protected from the tyranny of the rulers. Surah At-Talaq, the Divorce. This surah was revealed in Medina and it has 12 verses. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that if Surah At-Talaq and Surah At-Tahrim are recited in the compulsory prayers, then the reciter will be protected by Allah from the fear of the Day of Judgment and he will enter Jannah. In another narration it is said that the one who recites this surah will be given the inspiration to perform Tawbatan Nasuha, then sincere repentance to Allah. Surah At-Tahrim, the prohibition. This Madani surah has 12 ayat. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that the one who recites the surah will be from those who always seek sincere repentance from Allah. The recitation of this surah and drinking of its water acts as a cure for many ailments and diseases. If this surah is recited by a person who is not getting sleep, then he will be able to sleep, and if recited by a person who is frightened, he will become calm. Frequent recitation also helps a person who is in debt to clear his debt. Surah Al-Mulk, the Kingdom. This surah was revealed in Makkah and it has 30 ayat. It is also called Munjiyah because it saves the one who recites it from the torment of the grave. The Holy Prophet likened the recitation of this surah to the staying awake on the night of Qadr. He also wished that every believer would memorize this surah and know it by heart. He said that this surah will remove its reciter from hellfire and take him to Jannah. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam said that reciting this surah at night keeps one under the protection of Allah until morning. Recitation on the night of Eid gives the reward of staying awake the whole night in worship. If recited on a person who has just died, his soul gets immediate relief. Memorizing this surah has great reward. If memorized, this surah acts as a protection from the torment of the grave, and it intercedes on behalf of the one who has memorized it on the Day of Judgment. Surah Al-Qalam, the Pen. There are 52 verses in this Makki surah. The Holy Prophet has said that the one who recites this surah will never face financial difficulties. Writing this surah and tying it to any part of the body that is suffering from pain alleviates the pain. Surah Al-Haqqa, the Sure Calamity. This surah was revealed in Makkah and it has 52 verses. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has advised that this surah should be recited often in prayers, as this is a sign of faith. This surah has praise for Imam Ali alayhi salam and insult for Muawiyah ibn Abu Sufyan. The Holy Prophet has said that reciting this surah makes the accounting of deeds on the Day of Reckoning easier. If this surah is worn as a talisman by a pregnant woman, then her baby will be safe. Giving water in which this surah has been dissolved to a child will make his memory and intellect improve. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam said that the one who recites this surah will never lose his religion. Surah Al-Ma'arij, the Ways of Ascent. This surah has 44 ayat and it was revealed in Makkah. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that the reward for reciting this surah is equivalent to the total number of people who keep up prayer and safeguard the property which has been entrusted to them. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam has said that the one who recites this surah will have his sins hidden on the Day of Judgment, and he will enter Jannah alongside the Holy Prophet. If a prisoner recites this surah, he will secure his release. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam said that if this surah is recited before sleeping, one keeps safe from the temptations of shaitan. Surah Nuh. This surah has 28 ayat and it is Makki. The Holy Prophet has said that those who recite this surah will get a reward equal to the number of people who believe in Prophet Nuh. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam said that those who believe in Allah, His prophets, and recite the Quran should never leave out Surah Nuh, as they will gain a place among the favored servants of Allah by reciting it. He will get 3 places in Jannah instead of 1, and he will be given 200 huris. Any supplication made after reciting this surah are quickly answered. The one who recites this surah often will not die until he sees his place in Jannah. Surah Al-Jinn. This Makki surah has 28 ayat. It is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam that frequent recitation of the surah is a protection from jinn, and the reciter will be in the company of the Holy Prophet on the Day of Resurrection. This surah also protects one from the evil actions of an unjust person. Prisoners secure early release by reciting this surah, and those who recite it properly will never face poverty or starvation. Keeping this surah in one's possession ensures safety from the jinn, victory in debate or confrontation, and safety of possession and wealth. Debts are also easily paid back. Surah Al-Muzammil, the Wrapped. There are 20 ayat in this surah, and it was revealed in Mecca. Some scholars say that it was revealed in Medina. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that a person who recites this surah will never face bad times. The person who recites it in the Isha or Tahajjud prayers always remains pure of heart and even dies while he is in a pure state. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam said that a person who recites this surah properly will get a chance to meet the Holy Prophet, and if he prays for something from Allah, he will get it. Reciting Surah Al-Muzammil 100 times on Thursday night leads to the forgiving of 100 major sins and procures 100 rewards. Recitation of this surah protects one from insanity and from being a slave to people. Surah Al-Muddathir, the Clothed One. This surah was revealed in Mecca and it has 56 ayat. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam has said that the person who recites this surah in his compulsory prayers will attain a rank near the Holy Prophet in the hereafter and will be protected from any misfortunes in this world. If this surah is recited daily and then a dua is made after its recitation, then the dua will be answered and the need will be fulfilled. If one makes dua that he wishes to memorize the whole Quran, he will not die until he has memorized it. Surah Al-Qiyamah, the Resurrection. This surah has 40 ayat and it is Makki. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that the person who recites this surah will be counted from among those who believed in the Day of Judgment, and his face will be shining when he is raised from his grave. It is also narrated that frequent reciters will be raised with handsome and attractive faces on the Day of Judgment. Recitation of this surah increases sustenance and protects the life and possessions of the reciter. He is liked by people. Surah Al-Qiyamah also makes a person chaste, humble, and sincere. Drinking water in which this surah has been written keeps the heart safe from ailments. Surah Ad-Dahr, the period. This surah is also called Al-Insan, the man. It was revealed in Mecca and it has 31 ayat. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that the reward for reciting this surah is Jannah and its bounties. If a person recites this surah, especially on Thursday mornings, he will be rewarded with 100 huris and 4,000 slaves in Jannah, and he will be given a place close to that of the Holy Prophet. Reciting it in war brings victory. Drinking water in which this surah has been dissolved is good for those with heart problems. Surah Al-Mursalat, the Emissaries. This is a Makki surah, and it has 50 ayat. The Holy Prophet has said that the one who recites this surah will not be counted from the mushrikeen, polytheists. He will always be victorious over his enemy. It is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam that drinking this surah after it is written and then dissolved in water that is mixed with the water from an onion acts as a cure from aches and pains. Keeping this surah written on deer skin as a talisman enables one to reduce the amount of time he sleeps, and he will be able to stay awake for a longer time. Surah An-Naba, the Great Event. There are 40 verses in this Makki surah. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that whoever recites this surah every day will be fortunate enough to visit Masjid al-Haram in the same year. The Holy Prophet has said that memorization of this surah carries great reward. If this surah is recited with the intention of staying awake, then the reciter will not fall asleep, and if it is recited before traveling, then the journey will become easy. Drinking water in which this surah has been dissolved cures stomach problems. Surah An-Naziyat, those who pull out. This surah was revealed in Makkah and it has 42 ayat. The Holy Prophet has said that the reward for reciting this surah is 10 times the number of entities in the heavens. Surah Abasa, he frowned. This surah has 42 verses and it was revealed in Mecca. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that the person who recites this surah will come out of his grave laughing on the day of resurrection. Writing this surah as a talisman on deerskin and keeping it in one's possession makes one successful in all his endeavors. If it is recited during a journey, then the traveler will return home safely. Whoever recites this surah with Surah At-Takwir will be under the shade of the Holy Prophet in Jannah. Surah At-Takwir, the covering up. This Makki surah has 29 ayat. The Holy Prophet said that the person who recites this surah will be happy on the day when the book of deeds of people will be opened. Whoever wishes that Allah should show him His mercy on the day of judgment should recite this surah. Recitation of this surah is especially good for the eyes. It improves vision and removes any ailments of the eyes. Surah Al-Infitar, the cleaving asunder. There are 19 ayat in this surah and it was revealed in Makkah. The Holy Prophet said that if a person recites this surah frequently in his prayers, then on the day of judgment there will be no curtain between Allah and himself, and when his book of deeds will be opened, Allah will protect him from humiliation. If a prisoner writes this surah and keeps it with him, he will be released sooner and he will be saved from any dangers. It is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam that even if the sins of the one who recites this surah are equal to the drops of rain, he will still be forgiven. This surah is also good for the eyes, and one should blow gently into the eyes after reciting this surah. Surah Al-Mutaffin, the defrauders. This surah was revealed in Makkah and it has 36 verses. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that if a person recites this surah in his compulsory prayers, he will be safe from Jahannam. He will not even see it, hear it, or even come close to it. His account for deeds will not be taken. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that if this surah is recited on a treasure, it will remain safe. In fact, reciting it on anything keeps it safe, even from the vermin of the earth. Surah Al-Inshiqaq, the bursting asunder. This surah has 25 ayat and it was revealed in Makkah. The Holy Prophet has said that the one who recites this surah will not get his book of deeds from his back on the day of reckoning. If ridden and worn by a pregnant woman, the delivery of the baby becomes easy. However, it is important that after delivery, this surah should be kept away from her. If this surah is tied on any animal, like camels or horses, then it keeps them safe. Surah Al-Buruj, the mansion of stars. This Makki surah has 22 ayat. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that the one who recites this surah will be near the prophets and messengers on the day of judgment. The reward for reciting this surah is 10 times the number of people who gather on the plains of Arafah. Reciting this surah saves one from dangers, and if recited before sleeping, one is kept under the protection of Allah for the whole night. When trying to wean a baby, this surah should be written and tied as a talisman around the baby's neck. Surah At-Tariq, the Nightcomer. This surah has 17 ayat and it is a Makki surah. The Holy Prophet has said that the reward for reciting this surah is equivalent to 10 times the number of heavenly bodies in space. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has narrated that if Surah At-Tariq is recited in compulsory prayers, then the reciter is honored by Allah and will get the opportunity of being with the prophets. Reciting this surah over anything keeps it safe. If recited before taking medicine, then the medicine will be a sure cure. The water in which this surah has been dissolved should be poured gently on a wound and it will heal with the grace of Allah. Surah Al-A'la, the Most High. There are 19 verses in this surah and it was revealed in Makkah. It is narrated that the reciter of this surah will get the reward equal to 10 times the number of letters in the divine books that were revealed to the Holy Prophet, Prophet Ibrahim and Prophet Musa. It is also said that in the hereafter he will be told to enter Jannah through whichever door he pleases. Imam Ali alayhi salam used to recite this surah often in his compulsory prayers. Surah Al-A'la is also good for relieving ear pains and other ailments. Surah Al-Ghashiyah, the overwhelming calamity. This is a Makki surah and it has 26 ayat. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that the one who recites this surah will not face difficulty in the accounting of deeds on the Day of Judgment, and Allah will show mercy to him and save him from Jahannam. Reciting this surah near a baby removes fright from him and stops his crying. Imam Ali alayhi salam has said that if this surah is recited over a part of the body which is paining, the pain will go away, and if recited over food items, it removes any bad effects of that food. Surah Al-Fajr, the Daybreak. This surah was revealed in Makkah and it has 30 ayat. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam urged believers to recite this surah in their prayers, as it is the surah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and the one who recites it often will be in the company of Imam Hussein on the Day of Judgment. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that the one who recites this surah, Allah will forgive his sins amounting to 10 times the number of people who recite it. On the Day of Reckoning, he will have a shining light. If this surah is written as a talisman, then tied to one's back, then Allah will give him a child who will be a means of pride and blessings for him. Surah Al-Balad, the City. This surah has 20 verses and it was revealed in Makkah. The Holy Prophet has said that whoever recites this surah will be safe from the wrath of Allah on the Day of Reckoning. Those who recite this surah in their compulsory prayers will be counted among the pious and will be given a high status in the company of the prophets and martyrs. Writing this surah as a talisman and tying it around the neck of a child keeps him safe from illness. Water in which this surah has been dissolved, if put in the nostrils, acts as a cure for nose ailments. Surah Ash-Shams, the Sun. This is a Makki surah and has 15 ayat. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that the reward for reciting this surah is compared to the things upon which the sun and the moon shine. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that the person who recites Surah Ash-Shams, Al-Layl, Al-Duha, and Al-Inshirah will, on the Day of Judgment, find all creatures of the earth testifying on his behalf, and Allah will accept their testimony and give him a place in Jannah. Recitation of this surah also leads to an increase in sustenance, courage, and popularity amongst the people. Surah Al-Layl, the Night. There are 21 ayat in this surah, and it was revealed in Makkah. The Holy Prophet has said that the reward of reciting this surah is so much that the one who recites it will be pleased when he sees it in his book of deeds. His inspiration of good deeds will also increase. If recited 15 times before sleeping, one will dream about what pleases him most. Reciting it in the Isha prayers carries the reward of completing a quarter of the Holy Quran, and it is guaranteed that the prayers are accepted. Surah Al-Duha, the Brightness. This surah was revealed in Makkah and has 11 verses. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that Allah is pleased with the person who recites this surah. If recited together with the name of a person who has gone missing, he will return home safe and sound. If something is forgotten somewhere by mistake, the recitation of this surah keeps it safe until you get it back. Surah Al-Inshirah, the Expansion. This surah has 8 ayat and it is Makki. The Holy Prophet said that Allah grants good fortune and yaqeen in religion to the person who recites this surah. Recitation of this surah is also good for relieving chest pains. Drinking water in which this surah has been dissolved is a cure for problems while urination and heart ailments. Surah At-Tin, the Fig. This surah was revealed in Makkah and has 8 verses. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that the reward for reciting this surah in prayers is a great palace in Jannah. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that the reward given to the person who recites this surah cannot be counted. If recited on food, its evil effects are removed. The one who recites this surah is compared to the person who has visited the Holy Prophet and had his needs fulfilled by him. Surah Al-Alaq, the Clot. There are 19 ayat in this surah and it was revealed in Makkah. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam said that whoever recites this surah in the daytime or at night and then passes away, he will be counted amongst the martyrs who died while fighting on the side of the Holy Prophet. It is highly recommended to recite this surah while traveling, and it acts as a safety from accidents. If recited on a treasure, it remains safe. Surah Al-Qadr, the Majesty. This is a Makki surah with 5 ayat. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam has said that whoever recites this surah with a loud voice, it is as if he has lifted his sword to fight in the way of Allah, and whoever recites it slowly in his mind, it is as if he has been sacrificed in the way of Allah and has died a martyr. If a person recites this surah 10 times, 1,000 sins of his are forgiven. If recited in compulsory prayers, all previous sins are forgiven. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that reciting this surah once carries the reward of fasting for the whole month of Ramadan. Constant recitation of this surah increases sustenance. If Surah Qadr is recited 11 times before sleeping, the reciter remains safe the whole night. Recitation in front of an enemy keeps one safe from his evil designs. For the paying back of loans, one should seek forgiveness and should recite Surah Qadr as many times as possible. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam said that for pious children, one should keep his right hand on his wife and recite this surah 7 times. If recited 7 times on the grave of a believer, his sins will be forgiven. Surah Al-Bayyinah, the Clear Evidence. This surah has 8 ayat and it is a Madani surah. The Holy Prophet said that if people knew the benefits of reciting this surah, they would leave their work in order to learn it. If a person recites this surah at night, then Allah sends angels to protect the reciter, and his faith is also secure. The angels seek forgiveness for him. The reward for reciting this surah is equal to all those things on this earth upon which the sun shines. Writing and drinking water of this surah is beneficial for cure of ailments. Surah Al-Bayyinah is also good for pregnant women and helps to ensure the safety and security of their babies. Reciting this surah before eating removes any ill effects of the foods. Surah Al-Zilzal, the Earthquake. This surah was revealed in Medina and it has 8 ayat. It is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam that whoever recites this surah in his nawafil prayers will not die as a result of an earthquake and will be saved from all the natural calamities. The experience of death is made easy for the one who recites this surah, and he sees the light of Jannah as he is about to die. Then 70,000 angels accompany his soul to the heavens. Keeping this surah in one's possession is a safety from tyrant rulers. Surah Al-Adiyat, the Assaulters. There are 11 verses in this surah, and it was revealed in Mecca. In a tradition from the Holy Prophet, it is said that the reward for reciting this surah is equivalent to 10 times the number who are present in Arafah and Muzdalifah at the time of Hajj. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that those people who recite Surah Al-Adiyat every day will be counted from the companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and it has also been narrated that reciting this surah daily carries the reward of reciting the entire Quran. If a person has many creditors, recitation of this surah will help clear his debts. If recited by a person in fear, this surah brings him to safety. If recited by a hungry person, it helps in his finding sustenance. If recited by a thirsty person, his thirst will be quenched. Surah Al-Qariyah, the Terrible Calamity. This is a Makki surah which has 11 ayat. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam has said that the person who frequently recites this surah will be saved from the heat of hellfire. If a businessman or a person in financial difficulties keeps this surah in his possession, the doors of sustenance will be opened to him. Recitation of this surah in prayers also increases one's sustenance. Water in which this surah has been dissolved is useful in keeping away unwanted pests like insects and rodents. Surah At-Takathur, the Multiplication of Wealth. This surah has 8 ayat and it was revealed in Makkah. The Holy Prophet said that whoever recites this surah before going to sleep at night will be saved from the torments of the grave. If this surah is recited in compulsory prayers, the reciter will get the reward of 100 martyrs. If recited in the nawafil prayers, he will get the reward of 50 martyrs. It is especially recommended to recite Surah At-Takathur and the Asr prayers, and the person who does this remains under the protection of Allah until the day ends. Recitation of this surah is a cure from headaches. Another way of reciting Salat al-Washat, apart from the commonly known way, is to recite Ayat al-Kursi once and Surah al-Ikhlas twice after the Alhamd of the first rakat, and then recite Surah At-Takathur 10 times after the Alhamd of the second rakat. Surah Al-Asr, the time. There are 3 ayat in this Makki surah. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that the person who recites this surah in his recommended prayers will have a shining face on the Day of Judgment. The one who recites this surah will be patient in adversity and will be counted from among the people of truth. If this surah is written after Isha prayers and kept, it will be a safety from the tyrant ruler in whose presence one is brought. Surah Al-Humazah, the Slanderer. This surah was revealed in Makkah, and it has 9 ayat. The Holy Prophet said that the reward for reciting this surah can be compared to 10 times the number of disbelievers who were present in Makkah. Reciting Surah Al-Humazah in compulsory prayers keeps a person safe from poverty. Sustenance comes towards him. His death will not be of a sudden and terrifying nature. This surah is also a cure for pain in the eyes and should be recited before blowing gently into the eyes, for relief from pain. Keeping this surah in a talisman around one's neck acts as a protection from the evil eye. Surah Al-Fil, the Elephant. This is a Makki surah with 5 verses. It is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq that whoever recites this surah in his compulsory prayers, the mountains will bear witness on the Day of Judgment that he prayed, and he will be taken to Jannah on the command of Allah. The person who recites this surah is kept safe from his enemies and has his difficulties and problems solved quickly. Recitation of this surah is also helpful in remaining safe from evil tyrant rulers. Surah Al-Quraysh. This surah has 4 ayat and it was revealed in Makkah. The Holy Prophet said that the one who recites this surah will get the reward of 10 times the number of people performing tawaf and i'tikaf. The recitation of Surah Al-Fil and Al-Quraysh in the compulsory prayers carries great reward. If this surah is recited on food, its ill effects are removed. Those with heart conditions should recite this surah and then gently blow into some drinking water and drink it. If a poor person recites this surah before sunrise, Allah will make it easy for him to get his sustenance. Surah Al-Ma'un, the Daily Necessities. This surah was revealed in Makkah and it has 7 verses. It is narrated from Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam that if a person recites this surah in any of his prayers, then they will be accepted. The sins of those who recite this surah are forgiven. If recited 100 times after the Fajr prayers, one remains safe until the next day's Fajr time. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam said that if a person recites Surah Ma'un 41 times every day, he and his family will remain free from being dependent on others for their sustenance. It is recommended that salawat should also be recited after the first and last 10 times. Surah Al-Kawthar, the Heavenly Spring. There are 3 ayat in this Makki surah. It is narrated from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam that the person who recites this surah in any of his prayers will drink from the fountain of Kawthar. The reward for reciting this surah is compared to 10 times the number of cattle slaughtered on Eid al-Adha every day until the day of resurrection. Surah Al-Kafirun, the Disbelievers. This surah is Makki and has 6 verses. The Holy Prophet said that reciting this surah carries the reward of reciting a quarter of the Holy Quran. The recitation of this surah drives away shaitan and keeps one safe from shirk. It is also among the 5 surahs that have been recommended to be recited during a journey, the others being Surah An-Nasr, At-Tawheed, Al-Falaq, and An-Nas. Reciting Surah Al-Kafirun and At-Tawheed in compulsory prayers is a means for forgiveness of sins for the reciter, his parents, and his children. If a person dies after reciting this surah, it is as if he has died a martyr. Recitation of this surah before sleeping keeps one safe the whole night. Surah An-Nasr, the Assistance. This surah was revealed in Medina and it has 3 ayat. It is narrated that whoever recites this surah in compulsory prayers will always be victorious over his enemies. On the Day of Judgment, he will be given a book in which it will be written that he is free from hellfire. Recitation of this surah in the prayers ensures that the prayers are accepted. The one who recites this surah frequently is held in the same status as those who were with the Holy Prophet when Mecca was conquered. Surah Al-Lahab, the Flame. There are 5 verses in this surah, and it is Makki. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam advised that whenever a person recites this surah, he should curse Abu Lahab because of how he mistreated the Holy Prophet and showed disrespect to him. It is narrated that recitation of this surah is good for relieving back pains, and reciting it before sleeping keeps one safe in the night. Surah At-Tawheed, the Unity. This surah was revealed in Mecca and it has 4 verses. It is also known as Surah Al-Ikhlas. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that whoever recites this surah once will get the reward equal to 10 times the number of people who have believed in the Islamic teachings. This surah has many other rewards, and its recitation is compared to reciting 1/3 of the Holy Quran. Reciting it once is a means of blessings for the reciter. If recited twice, then the blessings are also showered upon the children of the reciter. Reciting it thrice brings blessings on the entire family of the reciter. If Surah Al-Ikhlas is recited 11 times, the reciter will have palaces built for him in Jannah. When a person recites this surah 100 times, all his sins for the past 25 years are forgiven, except the sins of killing an innocent person or usurping the property of people. The one who recites it 1,000 times will not die unless he has seen his place in Jannah. The Holy Prophet once advised a poor person to always say salam when entering his house, even if there was nobody there, and then recite Surah At-Tawheed. After a little while, the man became abundantly wealthy. It is narrated that if a person does not recite this surah in any of his 5 daily prayers, it is as if he has not prayed. In fact, if a person does not recite this surah in any of his prayers for 7 consecutive days, and he dies, it will be as if he died while following the religion of Abu Lahab. It is makruh to recite this surah in one breath. This surah has numerous other benefits, and it is a cure for many ailments. It should be recited when traveling or when facing a tyrant ruler. Surah Al-Falaq, the Dawn. This is a Madani surah and it has 5 ayat. It is narrated from the Holy Prophet that whoever recites this surah in the month of Ramadan in any of his prayers, it is as if he has fasted in Mecca and he will get the reward for performing Hajj and Umrah. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam said that in the prayer of Shafa'ah in Salatul Layl, one should recite Surah Al-Falaq in the first rakat and An-Nas in the second. Surah An-Nas, the Man. This surah was revealed in Medina and it has 6 ayat. Surah An-Nas and Al-Falaq are together called Ma'udhatain. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has said that whoever recites this surah in his house every night will be kept safe from the jinn and the evil designs of shaitan. If this surah is put around the neck of a child as a talisman, the child will be protected from jinn. Reciting the Ma'udhatain before sleeping is a means of safety, and if recited on any part of the body that is paining, the pain will be relieved.